You feel this nervousness on the phone there?
Sir, I've been trying to make an urgent phone call up there.
Well, I don't think it's something I want to do on an overseas phone.
You gotta make some phone calls. Hang up the phone. Prank caller. Prank caller.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to Packernet After Dark. This is the call-in show of the Packernet Podcast Network. If you'd like to call in, if you'd like to participate in the show, please feel free to do so. The phone number here is 608-501-0718. New callers go directly to the front of the line. We don't have any, so what's going on, Beer Cheese?
Hey, Brian. Beer Cheese Benny here. And you know what I was thinking today?
What?
Is that we have come to the point, I was literally thinking this during the game, and I forgot to mention this. We're getting to the point with special teams with, like, you know, extra point attempts, even to the point where I'm just sitting there thinking, let's just go for two every time. Because if they're going to mess it up anyway, we might as well just chance it trying to get two rather than pretty much know that this freaking line isn't going to block. So let's just go for two every time. What do you think? That won't work out, and that'll probably screw us a lot of times. Although, it would be cool if, like, next week, Mallet first says, all right, well, I don't trust you guys, so let's just go for two. And then we get it, and then it would be awesome. But, yeah, let me know what you think about that. Also,
Well, they're 11 for 12, so I don't know if they mess it up every time. I mean, I guess we could try to do some kind of math to figure out the percentage chance of making a two-pointer, but I'm just going to, until it becomes a bigger problem, I'm going to go ahead and just stick with the extra points.
thank God we have a bye, so I don't have to watch this game, and hopefully they make their necessary adjustments, and cannot believe what LaFleur said. He's like, if I thought it would have ended that way, he would have gone faster. Like, what do you mean he would have gone faster? Why weren't you just going faster? I mean, why weren't you just trying to win? Like, that just sounds like somebody...
Well, again, the whole trying to win thing, they were trying to win. You do need to drain some clock off. I mean, the way everybody talks is as though we needed to just be pedal to the metal, go as fast as you can. There was 4.5 minutes left. If you score in a minute, there's 3 minutes left. So, that's problematic.
Like, okay with tying, and was like, we need to ensure there's at least a tie. Like, I would have rather them lost knowing that they tried to win.
They did try to win.
Than tie, knowing that they were trying to die.
They were trying to win.
Anyways, guys, go Pack, go. Everything's going to be all right.
They were trying to win. They were trying to win. We got a moratorium on that. No more saying they weren't trying to win or they were trying to tie. They were not trying to tie. They were not trying to win. That's not a thing.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
So,
I posted a few comments on your Facebook page of my disappointment and how I've got my hopes up so much for this team, and just to see them squander opportunities is just killing me. It's just unbelievable that you could honestly say one play goes differently against Cleveland and they win. And it's kind of, you could argue a little bit that if they don't have a blocked extra point, maybe the momentum doesn't change in that game either. You know, they go up 14-0 instead of, instead of Dallas getting 2 points and then taking the momentum from there. Man, I honestly, I think I dislike Rich Bisaccia more than Michael dislikes Toby. I honestly can say that. I don't dislike him as a person. I dislike his performance as a coach of what is happening with this special teams. I know he's not on the field, but the burden falls to him. He gets paid. There's a reason the guy gets paid. He is responsible for the performance of these guys. And it all comes down with him. And he has not lived up to his contract. This team has mental, failures on the field way too much. And it's getting to me. It honestly is getting to me. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, as far as the coaching thing goes, I mean, I generally don't want like a blanket, no matter what, you're to blame. Sometimes you just don't have the players, but that's where you got to ask. Like, do we have some kind of a massive deficiency in players? Is everybody just a complete idiot? It's hard to know because, being good on offense or defense doesn't mean you're good at special teams. It's hard to know that. But I don't have any real reason to believe that we have just uniquely awful special teams players. You know what I mean? I don't see why that would be a thing necessarily. So, yeah, I unless and until I have some other information to go off of, I'm going to kind of lean on Bisaccia and say, dude, this is your deal here. And especially when we have a good kicker and punter, and the long snapper seems to be doing his job, it really makes your job easier, even if I give you credit for that, which I can, to say, you are partially to thank for the kicking operation or whatever. It kind of makes your job a little bit easier, because if the rest of it is just not awful, I'm good. You know what I mean? I mean, we don't have to pin him on the 2 every time and start out at the 50 every time for me to be happy with special teams. If we can just kick well and then everything else is not a liability, I'm good. And we are halfway there. So just make things not a liability would be super wonderful. Would be my preference, I guess. Maybe I'm being too needy, selfish. I don't know. Who knows?
Okay, observation number 2, Ryan. I remember calling in last year, and it seemed like I described what we were watching with Green Bay as like Jekyll and Hyde sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be the offense would play good, but the defense wouldn't play good. Or the defense would play good, but then the offense wouldn't play good. And it was just back and forth, and there was no one being on the same page, it seemed like. And it sure does seem like the Dallas game is another one of those Jekyll and Hydes, where this game the offense shows up, but the defense doesn't.
Yeah.
And if, against Cleveland, if the offense had shown up also, they would have easily won. And if the defense would have just done what they usually do in the first 3 games, Green Bay would have easily won. They just are not on the same page again. And it just scares me to think that this is how this whole season could go again.
Well, again, that's where I would caution. Don't take one instance and say that's how everything is going to be forever. I mean, again, there's negative and positive ways to view everything, but on the positive side, the offense has had one bad day and the defense has had one bad day. And unfortunately, our defense had a bad day against an elite offense, go figure. Our offense had a bad day against an elite defense, and so much so that we ended up not winning the games. There is a universe where we end up winning both of those games, but there's a lot to overcome in that. I mean, our offense scored, 10 points against Cleveland? That's hard to overcome that as a defense. Our defense gave up 40 points against Dallas. It's hard to overcome as an offense. But, it just kind of ended up being worst case scenario when, if I had told you the offense and defense would only have one bad performance through 4 weeks each, I don't think 2 wins is how we would expect that to turn out, but it is. So, and there's always going to be some Jekyll and Hyde. The only way we don't have some Jekyll and Hyde is if the offense and defense perform perfectly every single week. That's not going to happen. It just is what it is. But you part of it is you have to find ways to overcome. When your quarterback has a bad game, how do you overcome that? When your defense is a little sluggish, how do you overcome that? So far, we're not doing a good job of overcoming adversity. When there's adversity, we don't win. But that's been 2 weeks so far. We've had adversity and not won, and only lost once. So let's see how it goes.
It's just one of those things where it just perplexes our thought patterns of how real good, and then against what we thought was an awful offense, or at least an awful team, that they just get run all over. So, go figure. And the other thing is, when I called...
Well, remember, we didn't think Dallas was a terrible offense. Dallas has a terrible defense, and we scored 40 against that defense. So, we say Cleveland and Dallas are bad, but with the caveat that Cleveland's defense is very good and Dallas's offense is very good. And I don't know. Cleveland, I don't think, is making the playoffs. Dallas, I kind of think, is making the playoffs. We got to see. I mean, there's a lot of NFC contenders, but we got to, I guess, put that into a little better context as opposed to just bad. They're bad equals we win.
Back last week, I was jokingly talking about Matt LaFleur as compared to Matt LeBlanc, and the offensive line is, the three girls from Friends. And I'm beginning to wonder if, in that Thanksgiving episode, I think Phoebe flashes the guys and then it lets Monica run free. That may not be a bad way to go about it. You have Monica and Phoebe and Rachel on the offensive line, and they flash the defense, and maybe that give Josh Jacobs enough time to get around the side and run for a few more yards than what he's been getting. So, got to try it, because, man, nothing else is working. I'm out.
Having never watched Friends, I can't say I understand the reference, but I don't know if I should touch that at all. Are we talking about like keeping the offensive line and dudes lift up their shirt and see how it goes? Or I don't know. Probably don't need to super entertain that thought. But yeah, the offensive line needs to play better. They could probably keep their clothes on, but they should at least block better when their clothes are on. Maybe is that a decent middle ground we can come to? I don't know. All right, why don't we take a break here? We got Corey from Ohio with a couple calls, so we'll pick it up there on the other side.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? Corey from Ohio again.
Yo.
I was calling to see if you got time, if you could do what you did with the last game with the Browns and kind of rewatch the game and go through the drop back attempts. I mean, I know we obviously had some offensive success, but we struggled mightily in the first half. And even when we did all right, our guys, every time Justin hits a completion, though, there's guys, like, close to him. It seemed like when Dallas was getting all their completions, they had tons of open space. Guys are open like crazy. And I'm just, after a couple games of maybe doing this, maybe we can get more of a hold on it. I don't quite understand. I don't know if Jordan's not seeing guys that are open or LaFleur's not calling very good plays or what. But, man, the Giants, Russell Wilson threw for 400 yards and 4 touchdowns on these guys. Deep balls, everything. I mean, we got one deep ball. Everything else seemed to be covered up pretty good. And even when Jordan did get a completion, there was tight coverage on the guy. I don't know if Jordan's not seeing the field well or what's going on, but it's just starting to worry me. And the defense, man, that to me looked like Joe Barry defense. Sit back, play off of them, guys wide open. I don't know what the hell we were doing. Where's that defense from the first 2 weeks? I don't know if maybe they fucking watched way more film than we did and knew what half he was going to do, or if half we played scared of this passing attack and played off them and didn't, play the way we have been, like play calling wise. I don't know. It's crazy. Just did not seem like a performance I was happy with. And my gosh, the penalties again. I don't know how many times the announcers made a couple comments. I've heard some other analysts and stuff make comments, but how many times it looked like there was a blatant hold on Micah or one of our pass rush guys that didn't get called. It was insane. Sometimes the guys' necks were getting pushed back. Like, that should be hands in the face or something. Jesus. But, I don't know. maybe even look at defense too. I don't know, but yeah, let me know what you think. And like I said, if you got some time, we could go through it again. That'd be cool. I like that episode a lot. But thanks, man.
Well, good. I appreciate the feedback. Sometimes I don't exactly know. You know, it's a funny thing about this is there really is no feedback on this. YouTube is a lot better with feedback because certain episodes, like there's big swings in views. With the podcast, it's like the same thing. It really just has to do with what day it is. Saturday, Sunday, people aren't really listening. Monday, kind of a big explosion. Everyone's going back to work, and then it kind of tapers off as it goes. But it's the same thing no matter what the topic is. I mean, there's going to be an explosion after a game, too, especially after a win. But it has more to do with the circumstances and that kind of stuff. So there's not a lot of feedback on what's good or not. And if your show starts to dip, people don't usually tell you. They just stop listening. And so there's a very slow bleed over time or a very slow increase over time. But not a very good feedback mechanism. So I appreciate when I get some positive or negative feedback on episodes. Not that it's everybody. I don't know, but we'll see. I mean, I'm kind of in a weird space here where we're getting close to needing to turn the page to Cincinnati, but there's a little bit of time here. So maybe I'll can do something like that. I don't know. It is a pretty big deal. I don't know if I would focus on offense. I would probably want to focus a little bit on defense, but I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to do that or not. I'm kind of ready to move forward here. I will say, though, again, my uneducated opinion on this, or just kind of a more of a feel thing than anything, is it does feel as though, and I've said this before, LaFleur and Hafley kind of got figured out a little bit, which is not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean they're bad at their job. It's just normal. People figure out, nobody knows how to beat this style of offense or this style of defense, and then somebody does it, and now it's on tape and people know how to do it, and now you have to evolve beyond that. And it kind of feels like, I think if there's anything that's disappointing is it was kind of 2 weeks of feeling that way. Maybe not 2 weeks. It was 1 week for the defense, kind of 2 weeks, though, for the offense. Because, like you said, even though we did score a lot more points, it really felt like they were doing it on the back of Jordan Love. Guys still just were not getting open, and I don't think it's the receivers. I just don't think Matt LaFleur is able to get guys out into space, and maybe that's just because he can't draw the defense really away because we're not able to execute things. We don't have a run game. Our screen game is not really good, whether it's a running back screen or a wide receiver screen or any of that stuff. So we're just not scaring them away. Maybe. I don't know. And maybe what we need is our offensive line back. Oh, my Lord, the Bengals are trading for Joe Flacco. You've got to be freaking kidding me. You've got to be freaking kidding me, dude. My Lord. Anyways, just can't get a freaking break here. We get Flacco playing at his best level in forever. We get Dak playing at an ungodly level. And then we get Flacco again, who I'm sure is just going to play out of his mind again. Whatever, man. Flacco in a 6th for a 5th? Okay. Whatever. Yeah, guys just don't seem to be getting open a ton, so I think, the bye week is a good time for the coaches to kind of evaluate their scheme a little bit, understand how they're playing you and how they're having success against you, and then counter that. Because you have to assume the Bengals are going to come out and they're just going to run the same playbook. Why wouldn't you? You have to keep throwing this stuff at the Packers until they prove that you can do something against it. So, yeah, I mean, the concern level goes up pretty significantly for me personally if it looks the same again, because, again, this is a perfect time to get this all squared away. It doesn't mean they can't get it figured out after this week or the next week or whatever, but coming out of a bye, running the same stuff, and still having the same level of success is going to be certainly concerning. So there need to be better results. But again, that's just kind of my thought, is it feels as though, the Hafley thing was great, and it's still, well, it's not still great. The players are still scary, but he's got to figure out the coverage thing. And again, I'm not putting it on the corners. He's made these corners look like superstars, and that's ultimately going to be his job again, is to make them look good, because now he's making them look like garbage because they're standing in spots and just getting picked apart. So he's got to figure some stuff out.
What's up, Ryan? It's Corey from Ohio again.
Yep.
Dude, I keep hearing about the holding penalties that were not called, and it's just crazy to me. I think the refs are doing a shit job this year.
It's real bad.
And then on a blatant pass interference.
And it's not just the Packers. Just get that straight. And there are times when I'll watch the game and it's, we will pass interfere and it doesn't get called, and I'm like, got lucky on that one. You watch any game you watch, turn on any game on Sunday and you're watching it going, what are we doing? The calls are just atrocious. And it really does feel like it's getting worse.
And our guys, they don't call. I mean, we couldn't get nothing to go our way.
Right.
Not one fucking thing seemed to go our way.
And that's where, if you're Matt LaFleur, you got somebody putting together a highlight reel of our pass rushers getting held on every play. You send it to the league office and you say, this is bull crap, and I want this fixed. Because we're losing games as a result of this.
I know obviously some things did. But I also keep hearing criticism for Matt LaFleur trying to go for it before halftime and put points on the board. Listen, when Dallas just had a fucking 14-point swing, excuse the language, and just totally took the momentum away from us, I think trying to put points on the board before half was the right move. That's what good teams do. The Lions would have tried to score. The Eagles would have tried to score. The Chiefs would have tried to score. If you want to be a big boy and play with the big boys and the champs, you got to try to score there. You can't be sissy-footing around. You just have to execute. It's not the decision to go for it. If you execute and you go down and score like Detroit or Kansas City probably would have, then you wouldn't have no problem with the call. It's getting criticized because Love couldn't get any time. The offensive line choked the fat one again, and they got in there and sacked him and kept the strip. But I guarantee we go down and put 3 or 7 points on the board, ain't nobody complaining about that decision. That's what the good teams do, dude. They take advantage, try to put points on the board. If you want to be a good team, you got to execute like the big, good teams. Let me know what you think later.
Yeah, I agreed with the initial decision to go get some points. My only criticism of it was, as it went along, it became more and more obvious we need to take a knee and get out of here. You definitely had plenty of time to shoot down the field. I don't. Again, we're getting kind of far removed from the game, but I just remember, and I think the way I described it was like the balance tipped very heavily in favor of knock this off. I think at one point Jordan almost threw a pick. And as we're going, I mean, the clock is ticking. We have almost no time, and we've moved almost not at all down the field. And so the risk reward was so heavily in favor of risk. And this is, like you said, the balance of power shifted toward Dallas because of that block kick or whatever the case may be. That also should put a little bit of fear into you, because you realize if Jordan goes out here and throws a pick, if there's a strip, sack, fumble, and they end up getting points or something to that effect, we're in a lot of trouble here. So I think you're right. The initial call should be, let's go get some points. Within a play or two, we're done. Taking a knee, I'm out of here. Live to fight another day.
Hey, Ryan, it's Garrett from Southern Illinois.
Yo.
I know I'm probably calling you more than Charlie Sheen calls the Mexican cartel. But I just keep coming up with these scenarios in my head of just stuff that sticks out. And one of them is, before the game even came up, I think Clayton brought up that Tolbert, the ref, his crew was the one that was going to be reffing this game. And immediately everybody knows this is the same group, I believe, that graded out the worst last year as a referee group for making mistakes or blowing calls.
I'm so tired of it.
Probably, I think, the referee team that got held out of the playoffs just because they were so bad.
Right.
And it was definitely evident in this game on a few plays. One, for instance, it was when Dak Prescott threw a ball, and there was nobody even close. He threw it to his left in the flat, and I believe it was in the fourth quarter. And I think they go on to score in that possession. And And because the referees didn't call it, it wasn't able to be overturned. Matt wasn't able to challenge it.
Sure.
And I'm just thinking, it's plays like that I just wish the NFL would get right and let the guys upstairs say, no, you're overturned. This is how it should be called. There was no one there. It's obvious to everybody watching the game that this was incorrect. And to let it stand is just egregious. So that's the one that really sticks out in my mind big time. But there were others that were like obvious that they were just not calling. But then there's others that they just go out of their way to call. And I'm like, yep, they're living up to their billing as the worst refs in the NFL. I just wonder what you thought about it and what things stuck out in your head.
This is where, again, I'll go on my same tirade again. How freaking hard is it to put a handful of guys up in the booth or have a team of people in New York that just monitor the games? How hard can that be? I mean, for crying out loud, you can get volunteers at this point that'd be willing to do it. You know? I mean, yeah, I think they need to have people that have cameras that can see better angles, that can make better decisions. And like I said, none of us are going to be mad if somebody throws a flag and as they're getting together, somebody in New York calls down and says, pick that up. That's not a penalty. Nobody's going to be mad if there's just a bunch of there's a flag on the play and, 25% of the time they're saying there's no flag on the play. I don't care. Just get it right and stop calling stupid penalties that are not penalties. And on the other side of that, obviously, when there's constant or egregious penalties happening, somebody in New York needs to call down and say, you need to throw a flag. Just throw it. I'll tell you in a minute what's going on. But yeah, it's getting, I don't know, it's getting intolerable is the best way I can put it. All right, let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Hey, what's up, Ryan? What's up, man? What's up? Sorry about all those calls earlier in the week when I was all over the place with that tie. Calm down a little bit. Oh, it's parlays, by the way. But,
it's all good, dude.
Just listen to your pod about Super Bowl halftime performances and Bad Bunny. I don't know, man. I mean, I guess I have a couple thoughts on it. Now, first, let me say that I'm not a Bad Bunny fan. I know who he is. He's a big artist, not just in the world. He's huge in America. I would say a lot of the younger people really like him, and I've been seeing him in a lot more movies too. I feel like everything I watch, he's popping up in there.
It's so funny too because somebody sent me a video of him wrestling. Oh, here he is winning this wrestling thing. Wrestling? I've never heard of this person in my life, and it's oh yeah, he wrestles, he acts, he does all this. He's obviously on Saturday Night Live recently. I don't know if I'm guessing it's not because of the Super Bowl. It's just because of who he is.
But I guess I want to say, I mean, he technically is American. He's from Puerto Rico. So he is an American artist, and he's huge in the United States and throughout the world. And while
you and I already had a back and forth on that one. If you asked him, are you an American or a Puerto Rican, he'd say, I'm a Puerto Rican. So that's a differentiator.
I'm not really a fan of Bad Bunny, right? I don't really see anything wrong with him hosting the Super Bowl halftime show. I mean, he's a big artist. He's extremely popular. And that's not just in the Latin music market. I mean, half the people that listen to him, I'm sure, don't have no idea what he's saying. But a lot of people listen to reggaeton and his style of music because of him. So I guess, I don't know. I guess I personally don't see it as the NFL pandering to a particular market. I think it's more of the NFL realizing or just kind of noticing hey, this guy's big. He carries a huge fan base. And he does represent a lot of current NFL fans, right? I would say younger, right? I'm thinking of all the Latino Americans, that were born and raised here that love Bad Bunny. They also love the NFL and watching the NFL their whole life. So I think for me, I think it's less of trying to, I think it's more of it's the NFL just recognizing another sector of their fan base that has already been there. Now, is there some pandering going on? with them trying to tap into the Latino markets, and of course there is, but I also wouldn't understate that there are a lot of diehard NFL fans, particularly younger fans, right, that have loved the game their whole life, that have also, grew up on Bad Bunny, and other reggaeton artists, and, they're Americans, just like Bad Bunny. So I would say that there's a little bit of both going on, but I don't know if I would classify it as solely one thing or the other. But like I said, I'm not a big fan of Bad Bunny, but I can appreciate, him headlining the Super Bowl. Well, first, I can't remember the last time I watched a Super Bowl halftime performance. They're to me, they're all bad. They all suck. The only ones I could think of that I liked were like, they're really old ones, like,
Oh, 3 minutes got him. Yeah, and again, I wasn't, it's not even anti-Bad Bunny. I don't really care about the decision. It's just, it's more of, if this is what they're doing, I don't want them to do it. If this is them just looking at the music charts and going, here's a guy at the top, I still think, like we talked about this last year, I still think that's lazy. I think there are probably better ways to do it. But whatever, at least I understand that that's what you're doing. My concern was that this was another opportunity, similar to like expanding into other markets, which again is good. But I don't know. I feel like there's a line there, and you don't want to just go full bore, right? Like how many international games become too many? Because there is a point where, this is still like an American sport with American people, and wanting to grow your fan base is good, but not in so far as we neglect the people that actually already watch the NFL. You know what I mean? Trying to appeal to people that don't watch the NFL at the expense of the people that do. That's what I just don't want them to do. So again, if this is like, no, like NFL fans love Bad Bunny, I would be skeptical, because again, there's multiple things here. There's his worldwide presence, his American presence, and then his popularity among NFL fans, which is a different demographic than Americans, which is a different demographic than worldwide community. And I had the AI kind of try to help me parse this out, because when I looked at the top 200 music charts, he wasn't listed at all in the top 200. However, if you look at and this is in America, if you look at the American charts for like albums, he's like number 6. So I was like, well, how does that work? And the way that they parsed it out for me is that more than likely what that means is he doesn't have a mass broad appeal, but the people that are big fans of his are massive fans of his, which again kind of leads me to believe that it is probably Latino Americans more so than just broad anybody Americans. In other words, the one list he wasn't on is the one where you're just going to have radio play. This is not something that's just getting mass play on radios that everybody's kind of listening to. It's more of a like what would you call it, a cult following in a way, kind of. I hate to say Taylor Swift, because that's obviously stupid because of how massive she is. But in that there is sort of that like Swiftie market where people who are psychotically obsessed. I think he has that, but just not as much broad appeal. Again, I don't know what the NFL's motivations are. I'm just saying, if you're doing this, stop it. I've already conceded, like you said, I'm probably never going to like a Super Bowl halftime show again, because it's going to be kind of like what Summerfest did for a while. It used to be like old classic rock bands and all this stuff, and then they started getting into more like modern young people rap music or whatever. And it's just like, I feel like Summerfest people just didn't want to go. Like it kind of changed the demographic. That's the thing. We're not appealing to the demographic. We're changing the demographic so that the people that used to go there to Summerfest stopped going, and then new people started going. Actually, same thing happened when I worked at a bar. I had a bar, and it was all like classic rock, and you'd have like the bikers come in and drink their beers or whatever, and then they changed it to more modern music, and the biker people stopped showing up, and younger people started showing up. And it just became like a different thing, which sucked for us because the older biker people used to tip, and the young people come in, they drink drinks, get into fights, and don't tip. So that wasn't great. Anyways, part 2.
Anyways, I'm rambling. But, yeah. And then I think about all the other halftime performances of people that are really popular that are just ass. Excuse my language, like U2. I think that is one of the worst groups ever, and I think they had a Super Bowl and Coldplay and all these Bruce Springsteen, who I think is the worst singer of all time.
He's so bad.
I will never understand
He's so bad.
why that man is so loved in America. His voice is horrendous. He sounds like a dying dog. Yet that man has had the halftime show, and they praise him, and he's just American garbage when it comes to music to me. But let me stop. I don't want to turn off a lot of people, but we've had a lot.
Well, he is bad, but it's a different thing. It's sort of when I think of American football, in other words, look out into the stands of a football game and tell me, are those people listening to Bad Bunny or Bruce Springsteen? Look into the stands of a football game. I'm guessing you're getting a lot more Bruce Springsteen than Bad Bunny. Now, which one is better? I don't know, man. I'll let those two fan bases hash it out. I don't want to defend either of them. But I'm just saying, pan across the stands of any NFL football game in America, and you're seeing some Bruce Springsteen.
A lot of American artists that are just awful. A lot of people that host the Super Bowl that are just, we're like, why? Why? And I kind of don't feel that way about Bad Bunny. Like I said, I'm not a fan. I don't really like, reggaeton music. But, like I said, I've lived all over the country, and his name always pops up amongst Latino circles, amongst the young circles. And he just, I didn't realize how big he was until several years ago when I looked into him because, my nieces and my daughter, they all like him. And I was just like, I didn't realize this guy was that big. But anyways, to sum up everything, I don't see anything wrong with it. Bad Bunny is an American. He makes music popular all over the world and in America. And I get that, the definition of what is a traditional football fan, lifelong football fan, is starting to change, right? From like how we grew up, where there's a lot more young people that come from all different backgrounds that love football. So it's like, I don't see anything wrong with it personally. So I'll sum my comments up there, man. And if I offended anybody about my Bruce Springsteen rant, I'm honestly not sorry. The man is
you shouldn't be sorry.
awful. So it's time you realize that. Bye.
No, that's the whole point. I mean, if you're not allowed to say that, then I shouldn't have a show for talking about Bad Bunny, I guess. But that's not what we do here. Say whatever you want. I don't really care. I shouldn't say that. You can't say whatever you want. Don't call in and say whatever you want. It's a bad idea. But let's just say there's not as many rules as you might find in other circles. Again, I have no idea what's going on out there in the world, who the most popular people are. Again, I'll just repeat what I said. It's not a matter of this is what they're doing. It's just a matter of if this is what you're doing, please don't do that because it's a bad idea. However, if this is, again, which I think is what they do most years, you got somebody that just looks at the music charts and picks somebody at the top. And I think what you said earlier is probably correct. It's some mix. They're looking at the top charts. You cross off some of them that are just not going to do it, right? Some of them are going to say no. Either they're too big or whatever. They're just not interested. And so you're left with a handful of people. And yeah, they probably looked and said, well, here's a guy that not only is top of these charts here, the record ones or whatever, but appeals to young people and appeals to Hispanic people, two demographics we're trying to reach out to. So it does both. It's probably some kind of a combo. And again, that doesn't bother me as much. I just don't want like this mentality of screw the OG football fans because we're trying to reach out to new fans to get them to like us. It's the same thing with like the Swiftie thing. It's stupid. Swifties don't like football. They don't like football. They've never liked football. They pretend they like football now because they like everything about Taylor Swift, and so they're massive Chiefs fans. But what happens when What's-His-Nuts retires? Do you think they care anymore? I doubt it. You think Swifties in 15 years are going to be sitting around in their Chiefs jerseys with little Swiftie Chief fan kids running around? No, they don't care. But the NFL is so obsessed with bringing in people that don't like us. And there's almost no overlap between Swiftie fans and NFL fans. I'm sure there's some, but it's very slight. And the NFL is obsessed with being loved by everybody because their main goal is profit. And if we can add another market, that's massive amounts of money. And look, go get your money, dude. I'm all for it. I don't really care about that. Just don't mess up what we got going here in the pursuit of you getting rich off of people that don't like you. Stop changing the game 24/7. You know, and again, this is part of the reason I brought up the Bad Bunny thing is because I'm so jaded about this whole topic. Whether it's the Swiftie thing or just softening up the NFL in general, which this was a thing. I remember them talking about it. Big part of the reason they did that is moms. Moms did not like the violence of the NFL. And they said that moms are not allowing their kids to play football anymore, and that is going to cause a problem for us in the NFL. So it became a thing of we need to appeal to moms. So we have to soften up this game because moms are scared for their kids. It's a slightly different thing, but again, every single decision they make is never about the betterment of the game. It's not about the enjoyment of the fans who love the game. It's always about appealing to other people that aren't football fans. Whether it's to profit from them or to appease them or something, it's just so freaking tiring. So again, my instinct tells me that they're doing what they always do, which is trying to use something that should be entertainment, one of the biggest entertainment moments for NFL fans. We're going to take that away from them and use it as a tool to reach out to people that are not currently interested. I know that there are Latino fans that watch football, but the point is there's a massive group that are not, especially not in this country. And this is a great opportunity to go reach them. And my thought is, F you if that's what you're trying to do. If it's not cool, if it is, F you. Stop taking football away from us and giving it to other people that don't want it. That's more my issue, is that concern that the NFL continually does that. I'm not watching I shouldn't say I'm not watching it. I might watch it. I don't know. I wasn't excited about was it Kendrick or was that who it was last year? I wasn't excited about that. I didn't enjoy that, but I watched it. I'll probably watch this, at least a little bit of it, and if it starts getting weird, I'll turn it off, but whatever. I probably am not, unless the Packers are in the Super Bowl, I don't know that I even want to watch the Super Bowl anymore. I'm actually really excited about some teams, just new teams, possibly getting into the playoffs, because it's just getting so boring. I feel like I'm watching the same thing every year. It's the same playoff teams, and then it ends up being the same Super Bowl teams. It's freaking boring. Like, I want to see Colts, and I want to see like a Colts-Chargers game, and NFC is tough. It's the same teams in the NFC all the time. Cardinals and I guess Washington, because they're relatively new to it. Just give me something new. That's why I'm rooting for the Chiefs' downfall so much, because I'm just so tired of seeing the same damn thing over and over and over again. We had like 20 years of Patriots dominance, and now I got to watch the Chiefs do it all over again? No, get out of here with this bull crap. And you know what? The Philadelphia Eagles can shove it too, all right? You get 2 Super Bowls in a decade, and then you're done. You go away. You can't do anymore. I'm tired of you. Leave. There's a lot of things that annoy me, all right? That's why I have a podcast. Rant and rave about everything that annoys me. Obviously, I'm rooting for the Packers. I would love for something different to happen. As much as it's funny that the same teams are bad every time, it also makes the NFL not a fun product to watch, because it's the same bad teams and the same good teams and then the same Super Bowl winners all the time. And it's like, this kind of sucks, dude. Like, when do I get to see Jets-Dolphins in the playoffs, you know? Panthers-Giants? Something. I don't know. All right. Let's take a break. We'll stop there. I'm going to get out of here. You all have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.
Number 52, a predator below. Reading plays like ancient runes. The pocket collapses, the quarterback swoons. Clay and bone and thunder tearing king. legends aren't built on mercy.
Never can I run.